Good evening and welcome to the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation's annual report to the community. We're pleased to welcome you here. We're pleased to see our donors, our nonprofit partners, our community members, and the exceptional TGKVF staff. Together, all you make possible the work of this foundation in our 9-county service area and beyond. My name is Bob Orders, and it is my honor to chair the board of TGKVF this year. We are pleased to have you join us, and we hope you find this evening informative. Our board, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on our board this year and just tell you who these people are that are members of our board of trustees. Our board added one new member this year that I would like to tell you about, Dr. Kimberly Becker. Kimberly is now the Chief Medical Officer for Community Care West Virginia Incorporated. She previously was a family medicine practitioner in her organization's Clay Health Center. She brings with her a wealth of knowledge about the health needs of rural West Virginia, and we all have heard about those problems. Kimberly is a special person who's a great addition to our board. Unfortunately, she was not able to attend this evening, but I hope you'll be able to meet her soon. We also lost one board member whose term concluded in December. Todd Mount, who I saw someplace in here, there he is, served for, I believe, 8 years on our board, at least 10, including 2 years as board chair, and did an exceptional job. He lent his exceptional legal expertise to us, as well as just his great mind. Fortunately, Todd continues to serve us at the committee level. Todd, we're grateful for your past and present service. Thank you. All of our board members are active in the governance of this foundation and the work of its committees. Let me introduce these folks, and if you're here, would you stand when I call your name? And let's save our applause until the end. Dickinson Gould, Vice Chair of the Board and chairs our Distributions Committee, and he's right over here. Will Carter, who I don't believe was able to attend this evening, Secretary of the Board, and he chairs our Investment Committee, and he's on our Development Committee also. Ted Armbrecht, Chair of our Special Initiatives Committee and on Distributions as well. Dr. Kimberly Becker, that you heard me introduce, is on our Distributions Committee. Dr. Jason Castle is on Distributions as well. Dale Klauser chairs our Development Committee and is on Finance Committee, and I know she's here. And if any of you are inclined to be setting up a new fund at the foundation, see Dale and Johanna Meisner this evening, and they'll point you in the right direction and help you out there. These folks are working hard on donor relations and development to increase the amount of funds we have available. Sarah Ellis, who is on both scholarship and distributions. Georgette George, who is on Investment Committee and Finance. Leah Glover, who's on the Distributions Committee. Debbie Sink, is Debbie here? There's Debbie, who chairs our Finance Committee and is also on the Investment Committee. Plus, she chaired our big bylaws update work that we did, something that meant a lot to me. Bylaws Task Force, actually. Big thanks to Debbie for all the hard work there, and to Tom Haywood and staff at Bowles Rice for all they did to bring that together. Deborah Sullivan chairs our Scholarship Committee, which is a busy committee this time of the year in particular, and Andy Young, who's on Development and Finance. Please give these fine leaders a round of applause. And tonight I'm pleased to announce that we've selected a recipient for our TGKVF Scholarship for 2024. This special scholarship provides $6,000 of support for the upcoming academic year, with the possibility of renewing it for a total of 4 years. Our winner this year is Gracie champ of Ivydale in Clay County. Gracie, would you stand for us, please? There she is. There she is back there. Gracie's a very, very special young lady. She is planning to attend WVU, where she's been admitted to the honors program and intends to study political science and hopes to attend law school. She's been an essential part of a household where she is the eldest of 6 children. In addition, she has worked part-time. She has an extensive list of volunteer groups she works with. She's also an athlete who's been captain of her volleyball team for 2 years. Academically, she has excellent GPA and test scores. She is second in her class, and believe this or not, she will graduate a year early from Clay County High School this spring. We're really pleased that Gracie's going to be supported by funds from TGKVF. So I hope after this gathering is over, you'll take time to say hello to Gracie and her dad and family that are with her. But this is just one of many scholarships your donations have funded. But to tell you more about all the numbers and about all the work of the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, I would like to introduce Michelle Foster, our President and CEO.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to another annual report to the community. We always do this so you can know what we're up to and give you the opportunity to learn and to meet the staff and everyone. I'm honored to be the president and CEO of the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, your community foundation. I represent an organization that, as our theme says, is a bridge to solutions, igniting hope and fueling impact in our beloved community. When we say community, we focus on Boone, Clay, Fayette, Kanawha, Lincoln, and Putnam for our place-based discretionary grant making. And then when it comes to scholarships, it's the whole state. So we always want to make sure that you know what we consider our community. We are delighted to have you here today, where we are going to look at what we've accomplished in 2023 in broad strokes, and then look to share the vision for the future. I'm not here alone. I don't do this work alone. We are honored to have a dynamic team of exceptional, like Bob says, exceptional professionals, wholeheartedly committed to the foundation's mission and vision. United by our dedication, we work tirelessly to make a meaningful impact and to advance the goals that define our foundation. Together, we strive to create positive change and uphold the values that inspire our daily efforts. And that team is comprised of Kristen Mounts, our CFO. Please stand as you hear your name. Stephanie Heyer, Chief Program Officer. She handles arts and culture and education grants. Jane Powell, our Communications Director. Christine Spalding, our Controller. Megan Simpson, Program Director, who also handles our health grants. Todd Dorcas, Community Economic Development Program Officer. Derek Vance, Basic Needs and Special Initiatives. Candace Krell, Grants Manager and tech aficionado. It goes just beyond all that. Katie Farrell, our Scholarship Program Officer. Donor Relations Officer, Johanna Meissner. We have 2 accountants, Angela Dobson and Almeda Tincher, and Emily McCormick, our Program Associate, as well as Leslie Kimbler, our Receptionist. Team, please stand and be recognized. We want to make sure that we mention Susan Hoover, who retired last year. She was our Scholarship Program Officer and was with the foundation for almost 25 years. So we're really thankful. Hopefully she's listening. Susan, we thank you for your service. Thank you, team members, for all of your hard work in keeping the foundation running smoothly and efficiently. I commend your unwavering dedication to our community as we support our donors and our nonprofit partners. Working with you is truly a pleasure. No day is the same. You are the best team in philanthropy. Thank you so much. We also have another team of professionals who provide the foundation with behind-the-scenes expertise all year long. They include our legal counsel, Tom Haywood and Elizabeth Frame of Bowles Rice, our investment advisor, Greg DeSisto, Prime Buckholz, auditors, Suttle and Stallnicker, our primary banking partner, Truist, graphic design, event production, and branding, Augie Gray and Drake, IT, Advantage Technology, web design and video production, Cucumber and Company, photography, Chris Gossis, and film production, Jason Adams. We appreciate you. Thank you. I think everyone's here today. Thank you so much. TGKVF is a prominent philanthropy leader, ranking among the top 80 community foundations nationwide and serving as the largest in Central Appalachia. The term philanthropy itself signifies a love of humanity, a sentiment richly embodied by the numerous individuals in our community whose generosity shines brightly. We deeply appreciate all of our donors who, as of the end of last year, have established and contributed to 582 funds that we manage, and they range from 10,000 all the way to 68 million. Hundreds of individuals generously contribute their time and their talents, ensuring the well-functioning operation of the foundation. They include the trustees that Bob mentioned, numerous volunteers, hundreds of people literally, who serve on the investment, development, scholarship, distribution, special initiatives, finance and advisory committees, as well as on our health, education, community economic development, and responsive task groups. Our scholarship program has the largest number of volunteers, over 100 of them. Thank you all for your dedication to the foundation. Your contributions are vital to our success. Please know that your efforts are greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, after thoroughly reviewing the fundamentals of our community foundation, including our assets under management, our diverse donor base, our investments in the community, our processes, our systems, and partnerships, I'm delighted to report that even after 62 years, the foundation remains on solid ground. We continue to be a leader in philanthropy, assisting donors, nonprofits, and collaborative partners in strengthening our community. This ensures that all individuals and areas we serve have the opportunity to thrive. At the end of 2023, we had over 323 million in assets under management, up from 290 million in 2022. Some of our funds, about 2/3 of our funds are donor-directed, and 1/3 are volunteer and staff-directed. To everyone who contributed to the 17 million we received last year, thank you for your dedication to investing in our community through the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. And one donor really sticks out to our minds. Our donor relations position that you heard mentioned was funded by an anonymous donor. This contribution was allocated specifically to enhance our operational capabilities. And this really exemplifies the incredible support and commitment of our community. Words hardly do justice to the immense gratitude we feel for this donor and all others who are dedicated to bettering the lives of their fellow man. Their generosity, your generosity, impacts our efforts and the broader community. For those who received a share of the 13.6 million in grants distributed, we are delighted to partner with you in positively impacting our community. I'm also excited to share a record-breaking achievement in our scholarship program. In 2023, we awarded over 1.5 million, the highest number ever, 1.5 million in scholarships to 485 deserving students. It's a privilege to invest in our students who are our very legacy, the legacy of our community, like Gracie, who you met, who joins Emily Browning and Jaden Sharps as our TGKVF scholars. For additional details, you check out the program as well as the annual report book that will be in your mailboxes soon. In this, our 62nd year of existence, we remain a bridge to solutions, igniting hope and fueling impact. As our mission states, we are about helping donors, nonprofit, and other collaborative partners strengthen our community so all of the people and places we serve have the opportunity to thrive. At the heart of our mission lies a profound belief in the power of unity, collaboration, and compassion. We understand that challenges in our state are plentiful. That's easy to point those out. And the road to progress is often fraught with obstacles. Yet, it is precisely in those moments of adversity that the true spirit of our community shines brightest. It is in these moments that we must come together, resilient and determined, to forge pathways towards a brighter future. The theme of today's gathering, A Bridge to Solutions, really encapsulates the foundation's unwavering dedication to building connections among individuals, organizations, and ideas. It speaks to our belief that by fostering dialogue and collaboration, we can overcome even the most daunting challenges. But a bridge is more than just a physical structure. It's a symbol of hope, a testament to our collective ability to transcend barriers and reach new horizons. Igniting hope is not merely a pie in the sky, lofty aspiration, but a fundamental necessity of our work. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." He spoke these words in a Washington, D.C. address in February 1968, just 2 months before he was assassinated in Memphis. In his personal and public life, he endured many disappointments. Dr. King encouraged us to accept those challenges even as we hold on to the hope that makes his message so relevant. A disappointment or setback can put any of us in danger of giving up hope of our goals or our hopes, our dreams, whether for ourselves or for our community. Accepting that setback is simply part of the road toward what he famously called the promised land, frees us to process our failures in a larger context of progress, connection, and above all, hope. In a world often beset by uncertainty and despair, hope has to be our guiding light, illuminating the path forward and inspiring us to persevere in adversity. That spark that ignites change, empowering individuals to believe in a better tomorrow and motivating communities to come together, like the communities you're going to hear about soon in our Changemakers, to come together in pursuit of shared desired outcomes. Yet hope alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by action. We just can't hope, we gotta act, right? A commitment to fueling impact and affecting tangible change in the lives of those we serve. Here, our role as a community foundation is very paramount. Through strategic investments, targeted initiatives, and grassroots support, like with our Building Bridges Leadership Institute, we can catalyze transformative solutions that address the root causes of inequity and injustice. Let us remember that the true engineers of change are found in the hearts and minds of ordinary people like me and like you, who refuse to accept the status quo and instead dare to envision a world where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. As we continue on this journey together, let us do so with optimism and determination. Let us be guided by the belief that no challenge is insurmountable, no obstacle too formidable, as long as we stand united in the pursuit of a common purpose. So let us build bridges, not walls. Let us ignite hope, not despair, and let us fuel impact, not indifference. In doing so, we not only transform our community today, but lay the foundation for a brighter, more inclusive tomorrow. Well, we're now going to show our changemakers. It's my pleasure to present our 2024 TGKVF Changemakers. They represent organizations that are positively impacting lives in the arts, basic needs, education, health, and community economic development. They are fine examples of the investments we have made in our community with the assistance of we can't do anything without our donors. We've made these investments because of our donors. Please turn your attention to the screen.
The Multicultural Festival West Virginia Incorporated, now known as Multifest, started in 1989 to celebrate diversity in the city of Charleston.
The idea was to bring the community together as one, the diversity of everybody in Charleston, and having a great time.
It started as a one-day festival on the Capitol grounds of the state of West Virginia, but over the 30-some plus years, we have grown to be 4 days, and we're now at the Haddad Riverfront Park, which is downtown Charleston, West Virginia. Multifest covers an array of activities throughout the weekend, open and free to the public. We don't charge for any events. That's thanks to our wonderful sponsors that we do have. Multifest has hosted many Grammy and Stellar Award entertainers, going from Isaac Hayes to LL Cool J, a lot of gospel artists to come through.
Originally, I'm from Detroit, and every year I was able to see the Motown Review. So Multifest is like my Detroit's Motown Review, bringing artists in.
And of course, most of all, we do support our local entertainers. We want to make sure that we do support them. We also look in the sport industry to bring in role models for our youth. We want our young people to see these role models to know if they made it, they can make it too. We also have dance performances, we have step teams. We also have a play zone where we want to make sure our youth in the community will be able to come and enjoy with inflatables, with different rides, with gaming trucks. We also have started what we call a health segment, because we're not only concerned about what our community receive as far as ethnic music, but we want them to be healthy as well. And so we have a healthy segment where we have different certified instructors that come in on Saturday morning and teach from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on different healthy exercises, from Zumba to yoga to soul line dancing, you name it, we have it. In addition, we do pre and post vital checks to see how people do well throughout the day, and we have presentations from about health disparities within the community. I tell you, the overwhelming response of this festival has really blown my mind. This past year, 2023, we had about 50,000 attendees come through over a 4-day period, and this year for Multifest 34, we're expecting over 55,000.
It's always grown. From the very first day, it grew.
We pull from the entire, from the 6 counties that the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation covers, as well as the entire state and tri-state.
A lot of people plan their family reunions around Multifest.
They plan their high school reunions. They plan girls' trips and family trips so that they could be in the city of Charleston doing Multifest and include that on their agenda.
I got married at Multifest. That's not like this.
And getting feedback from our young people, they've been with Multifest for quite some time, hoping that Multifest will never go away, because they feel like that is a viable organization and a great entity to have to celebrate diversity in the city of Charleston. Most of all, we want to thank the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation for being a great supporter, a great sponsor of the organization. We thank them so very much for their sponsorship.
Oh my goodness.
Congratulations. This means a lot to us because we strive to please our people here in the community, and having this award and being recognized for the efforts and the things that we have done, it's a great honor to receive on behalf of Multifest. Thank you so much.
My name is Carol Howerton. I am the Workforce Development Director here at Marshall Advanced Manufacturing Center. I get the pleasure of working with our academic programs, our industry programs, and our apprenticeship programs, and especially things like our youth camps. We have a special project called ACE, sponsored by the Department of Defense, and the Greater Kanawha Valley Funds help support the students in that program. That's our main camp that we like to use. It's a great introduction to machining, but we also offer a full associate degree. We teach from conventional mills to CNC mills and everything that you would know to become a machinist as part of it. The program here at South Charleston has a lot of different activities to it. As part of the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation project, we're bringing in youth, disadvantaged youth from a variety of areas to get them acquainted with manufacturing. We get them on a machine, we let them make parts, we show them how much fun manufacturing can be so that they get that hands-on. They don't really understand what sometimes manufacturing can do. And we want to get them excited, see how they can come into the program, see what they can make, and let them explore. The students come primarily from Kanawha County, but we also work with Clay County, Logan County, Boone County, Putnam County. We'll have them from all over. It's an open camp. We don't prevent anybody from coming. From ages 16 to 24, we'll take anybody in and let them experience the projects that we have for them to do. So they accomplish a whole lot in a 1 to 2 week program. They get to make 5 pieces, put an engine together, program and design pieces, so they get to do a lot. When they make that first part and they do that, we tell them at the end that they just did a 2-hour college credit class. They realize that they can go to college, something they may never have thought of. So that's where we get them. It's sort of that recruitment and pipeline into a college program. And we link them to employers. We have great employment success out of the program as well. Always a good thing. The Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation program has really helped us to impact in offering more youth camps. Part of it is, feeding them, making sure they have transportation, providing those wraparound services that we don't traditionally do. So funding from the Greater Kanawha Valley has just really helped us increase our reach, give us a focus to help those who might not otherwise be able to come to camp. Students come in and you just see the lights go off with their faces. You get to see that when they make that first part and they're holding that and they say, I made that, I did that, and they get to see that piece. You just see that excitement in their face when they realize what machining is all about. Thank you very much. It's exciting. I love being part of the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation activities and being able to represent foundations. We have a great team here, and we love helping the youth, seeing those lights go off and everything we can. So thank you very much.
My name is Diane Collison. I'm the Executive Director here at the Fayette County Family Resource Network. We are a state-funded grant through DHHR, but we also are a local nonprofit, which means that we can provide fiscal agent services to other organizations who need that nonprofit status to apply for funding. We also have a direct focus on children and families' needs, and through that need, we developed the Basic Need Fulfillment Program. So our Basic Need Fulfillment Program offers a place for Fayette County residents to complete referrals on tangible items. So we define basic needs as going to be furniture like beds, dressers, washers and dryers, refrigerators. That basic needs could also include clothing for children or adults, and maybe household items like sheets or pots and pans, anything to move an individual out of a crisis situation. And once their needs are met, we want them to focus on other aspects of their life, maybe like education, employment, mental health. We meet with our network partners, and then we collaborate as a county, as a community, on how to meet those needs. And it's through that networking, through those monthly meetings, that we started a partnership with the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation in securing funding for the basic needs. So community change is hard, and community change takes a long time. So when we can have these bright moments of someone receiving a bed to sleep on, or clothes so that they can go to work and have a job, it makes doing this job worth it, and it helps us keep going through maybe the tougher parts. What I'd say to the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation is that they saw something in us that we didn't quite see. They saw that we could lend a helping hand and be a part of a direct need. And so for them to see it as an outside organization, we appreciate that they saw our network of partners and they saw our ability to directly impact individuals, which is something we hadn't done previous to this program or this funding. We want to move people out of surviving and into thriving. I mean, none of us do this work for the awards or the recognition, but it always just makes you feel good that your hard work is worth it, not only to the people in your county, but to other great organizations that are also doing the hard work. If I had an award to give the Greater Kanawha Valley, I would give one, because we appreciate all that you guys do.
My name is Grace Stewart, and I'm a trainer for the SHIELD Task Force of West Virginia. The SHIELD Task Force of West Virginia is working to end abuse in the Mountain State, and we do that through working with middle and high school students by providing body safety presentations and helping prepare school personnel and staff to support their students who may be experiencing abuse.
My name is Lieutenant Tony Crago. I'm a lieutenant with the Putnam County Sheriff's Department, but I'm also president of the Board of Directors for SHIELD of West Virginia. I was brought on to SHIELD as a trainer, where I began to give some insight from a law enforcement perspective, and I immediately began to recognize, wow, this is something that these middle school and high school students need to hear.
Courageous things are possible. And in our case, we get to facilitate courageous things by training students about what's appropriate for individuals engaging with them physically, what's appropriate for individuals engaging with them through social media and in digital spaces, and what to do if they're not being engaged with appropriately. Partnerships like the one we have with Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation make this work possible, and I'm so humbled and proud of the fact that we together are willing to wade into spaces that can feel very heavy and are sometimes very dark. But together, we can find the courage to do our part for these students and these children.
It's easy to feel hopeless. It's easy to feel like you're never going to win against the bad things that are happening out here. But when you see a child that we've been able to intervene and protect this child prior to a horrible act happening, those are the moments you remember why you do the job. It does take passionate people that care about other people to be willing to put themselves out there to just help protect the innocent.
We have been a recipient of funds from the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation for 2 years now, and that has been game-changing for us. To date, we're close to 3,000 students trained and hundreds of school personnel and teachers trained through that funding. We've also been able to develop some curriculum for faith-based communities. So we've developed a 12-part on-demand series that people can access through our website. That's shieldwv.com to help their faith-based community respond better and be prepared in these situations. So we are so grateful. None of that would have been possible without the foundation's support, and we are just humbled and grateful to be a partner of the foundation. I've got chill bumps, and this is making me quite emotional. Thank you so much. There's a lot of individuals who have spent a lot of time and effort and poured their heart and soul into our work. Our board is amazing and is so dedicated. Our founder is so dedicated and amazing, and this means so much. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Maggie Hawley, and I'm the Education Director at West Virginia Public Broadcasting. Fred Rogers is very important to the PBS family, and we know that all of their work and all of the things that they put out are all based on research of what's best for children. I have background as an elementary school principal, and I continuously saw kindergartners coming in, and they were not prepared for kindergarten emotionally. Because if you don't feel safe, or if you're always in that fight or flight mode, you're not going to learn anything anyway when you get there, and it makes it that much more difficult. And so whenever I started using Daniel Tiger Little Learners curriculum in other places, I thought how perfect it would be in a preschool or daycare setting. So Daniel Tiger is a preschool tiger and his preschool friends. And so that show, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, is based off of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but it encompasses research-based strategies for handling and dealing with your emotions. So I approached the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. They had a grant opening. I worked with them. They were great partners. And we piloted the Daniel Tiger Little Learners program here in Boone County. There's 10 lessons. We do one per month. And that gives the kids really time to understand and practice it in real setting. Whether it's when they're feeling mad and they want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. And then all the kids, seeing all the kids take that deep breath and they're using those coping mechanisms is just fantastic. The Fred Rogers program already had a social emotional curriculum, but what we did was we took it and we added more supplies that will also carry into their learning at home. The impact that this program has had on not only the teachers, obviously the students, the parents' feedback that we've received has just been tremendous. It's been overwhelming, and you can't just do it with one person, it's the whole group. And so it's been an honor and a privilege working with the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. Whenever I approached them with this idea, they were very open to it because they recognize the importance of mental health, not just for adults, but for the early learners. That brain development is so important. And you have to be able to cope and have strategies even at that young age. They've just been a great partnership. We both have that same focus of working with our younger generation because they're the ones that's going to be, leading everything in the future. And we're excited to see how these kids do as they continue to grow and be successful. Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you so much. It's a team. We have the West Virginia Public Broadcasting team has been nothing but wonderful. The Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation allowed us to put all of our dreams into fruition, so I'm a little speechless to be recognized by the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. It just means the world. thank you so much. Like from all of West Virginia Public Broadcasting to the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. Thank you. Thank you.
Our change makers are here. If you all wanted to stand and face the audience so they can salute you. Thank you for all your hard work, and we're proud of you, and we want to make sure that we're investing in the great work that you're doing. So thank you for your work. And hang around, we'll do a photo afterwards. I'll now invite our board vice chair, Dickinson Gould, to introduce our special guest.
Thank you, Michelle, and good evening, everyone. Fayette County, as you know, is one of 6 counties in the Foundation's primary service area, along with Kanawha, Clay, Boone, Lincoln, and Putnam counties. I want to make the point that Michelle and staff so often speak of building bridges and bridging gaps, and we give people bridges as gifts. It's nice to see us extend that so literally into a night where we'll talk about Fayette County and we can put a massive bridge on the stage and at the door on your way in. There's a lot of good reasons for us to talk about Fayette County and the area and what's happening there. But I want to start with a little bit of commentary on our proactive grant-making activities. From time to time, in some areas of our service map, the Foundation's program staff have to work extra hard, get extra creative, and show considerable patience to find the right partners and qualified nonprofits that are candidates for Foundation support, right? Sometimes it's like fitting a square peg in a round hole, that it takes work and effort and communication, and our program staff does such an intentional and deliberate job to help projects come along that the Foundation can fund and help, and it's part of why they network so relentlessly and they're so good at their jobs. I say all of that just to establish that proactive grant making takes work and effort, intentional effort and discipline. But in recent years, identifying great projects and partners in and around the town of Fayetteville has not been a challenge, right? I want to say there are amazing things happening in the town of Fayetteville. It's where opportunities abound, growth is undeniable, and local leaders are well organized and rightly focused on community building. And that's why we have some guests here tonight to tell us about the journey that Fayetteville is on right now. But naturally, growth comes with change, and change can be scary. So tonight we have a panel of esteemed guests to discuss the exciting opportunities in and around the town of Fayetteville and how planning can maximize the benefits of those changes and minimize the scary stuff, the goblins and the ghosts. So panelists, as I call your names, please join me and Michelle on stage to share part of your story. Audience applause is welcome and deserved. So let's start with Jenna Belcher, who is the Executive Director of the New River Gorge Development Authority. Sorry. Thank you, Jenna. Next, we have Sharon Cruikshank, who is the Mayor of the town of Fayetteville. Please welcome Matt Diedrich, who is the Fayetteville Town Manager. And finally, welcome small business owner Holly Fussell, who is the co-owner of Waterstone Outdoors.
So we've been investing in small towns. When we look back over the last 5 years or so, we've given about half a million dollars to small towns, and through the Fayetteville and Smithers and all those towns. So today we're just going to highlight one of those partnerships that we've had with small towns. With our coolest town in the state, I believe. So Jenna, we're going to start with you. There's been a lot of evolution in Fayetteville over the last decade or so. Could you talk about the key factors that have really stimulated that development?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Michelle. So, as a regional EDA, we just do our best to keep up with Fayetteville. The leadership there is phenomenal. Obviously, Mayor and Matt are at the helm of that, and we play a small part in helping drive their big visions across the finish line. But obviously, most of you all have heard that we received the National Park designation a couple years ago, which has been like drinking from a fire hose since that designation happened. The folks on this stage already knew the asset that we had, obviously, but now we've, have that official designation and are doing our best to make sure that we're meeting the expectations of the visitors and the community members at the same time. So I think that really has expedited and sparked a lot of the momentum that you're seeing in the region, but more specifically has allowed us an opportunity to really follow through on a lot of the vision that has already existed from the local leadership, and really just move that forward with additional investment and just expedite that momentum for sure.
Thank you, Jenna. That sets the stage perfectly. Mayor Cruikshank, what obstacles and challenges does the city face in this newfound economic and community development?
Well, it was quite a shock, as we know, when that happened. It was right on the cusp of COVID. And thankfully, to the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, we've had a need how to address the visitors, how to handle that influx of people. The instant notoriety, we've all known with what's behind us on this bridge, what Bridge Day does, 151 days.
She always knows how many days.
But the fact is that it multiplied so greatly. And so some of the obstacles or challenges were we're really poor on property. We don't have a lot of growth to have new development. However, it's coming in the surrounding areas outside of Fayetteville. One of the other challenges is our housing, which I know we'll talk about in part of that. On the other hand, we are having some growth with apartment development. With other things. Parking is a challenge where these people park. As a local, we know we could park at the Baptist church. It's no problem. They won't call the police. But as we need to remember when we travel to places outside of our homes, how hesitant we are to maybe park somewhere we shouldn't, and then we're hesitant to ask people for guidance. So I think that's a challenge. Some of our opportunities came about with your all's assistance. We can address the issues that face us. We hired a town planner to address these issues, to help us see what we can't. As you said, change is a hard thing. So how do we do that? At church a couple Sundays ago, Matt will tell you, the preacher said, "Who likes change?" I was the only one that raised my hand. So I don't know what the problem is with that, but I think it's an adventure and it's an opportunity. And I think after that, we also had, after the town plan, we've got that, I think, shared with that, but it gave us a roadmap or a plan or a wish list of where to grow into. And I think that's helpful. I tend to go down a rabbit hole. Did that answer?
That was perfect.
You did great. Okay. So with that massive growth, we're going to go to you, Holly. How have you maintained the natural, because you moved to Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. Talk about your move and what attracted you, and how do you preserve that natural beauty that makes Fayetteville, what it is, yeah.
Sure. So I'm lucky to call West Virginia home, but I haven't always come from West Virginia. My husband and I moved in 2020, like so many people made changes. We had always loved coming to West Virginia. My husband started climbing in the 90s, and I used the pun, he roped me into it. I grew up at the beach, so I was really good at getting tan, and I didn't really know how to do all the outdoorsy sports, but I fell in love with them over time. Answering that question, I think I go to people and communities as our, what makes Fayetteville beautiful. And I can tell you a quick story about Riley, just to illustrate this. Our challenge, Riley represents both a conundrum and a success story and opportunity. So at the core of my mission at Waterstone Outdoors is to expand access to the outdoors and make it more inclusive, not just for the people that are already like spiders and can climb up things or love getting, you know, tossed around by whitewater like Katie Johnson in the room. But to broaden that access, make it feel like it's for everybody, because it certainly is. But I want to create economic impact with our business. So the conundrum there is I really want to hire local talent, and finding local talent that already has the expertise on those very niche, hardcore sports. That Venn diagram is really slim in how it overlaps. I want to be a part of changing that, but I've taken chances on hiring local youth. I found Riley through Leadership Fayette County. Tom Haywood was just the speaker at their graduation a couple of weeks ago. And she has been a shining star. She did not grow up with exposure to those types of sports. She really didn't see that part of Fayetteville. What is unique about what the park and those sports bring to Fayetteville is they bring the world. We have world-class resources, world-class climbing, world-class whitewater. People come in certain times of the year, literally from all parts of the world, to experience those sports. So in some ways, we want to pump up our local youth and tell them how great their hometown is, how great the place they get to play in their backyard. Pump that up, but give them the access to say it's yours too. And it's an opportunity. So my conundrum and my solution and success story with Riley is that she's worked with us for over a year. She basically runs the coffee shop in the back. So you'll all have to come and have coffee with her. She makes a delicious honey lavender latte. She's going off to college at Marshall. She's not only going off to college and not being the first person in her family to go off to college, she's going on a study abroad right out of the gates. I even said, Riley, are you sure you want to do this? But that is the success. And she will say, and she said it at a Leadership Fayette County event, that her exposure to seeing a broader world that came to Fayetteville because of the outdoors, it came in that door. She got exposed to it in ways she wouldn't have in her other routine. She got exposed to it and it broadened her horizon.
It's awesome.
Outstanding. That type of workforce development that breeds a new generation of hospitality workers and tells the story of our community is just great. Great for you and great for giving her a stepping stone to bigger adventures. That's great. And by the way, if you haven't heard this expression, I think you're what we call a West Virginian by choice, which gets you extra points with everybody who's from there. We love it.
I'll take it.
So my next question will be for you, Matt. The character and the sense of community in Fayetteville is just such a huge part of the town's identity, and you don't get voted America's coolest small town without having a well-defined vibe, right? There is a vibe in Fayetteville that is undeniable. How does city government and leadership work to attract new residents, visitors, and businesses while simultaneously protecting that vibe?
Well, I think the dry answer is planning and zoning. But we've had planning and zoning in Fayetteville since the 70s. We were one of the first communities in West Virginia to adopt that. But that enabled us, especially in the 90s, to expand with big business and offer that to the visitors and to the people passing through, and obviously to our residents. And to do that in the commercialized setting out at Route 19. And we were also able to, in the 90s, through a citizen-driven group, establish a historic district, because it's important where we came from, right? And we have all these great buildings in Fayetteville, and so that was enabled us to preserve the downtown. And that's where all our cool businesses are. And like Holly is, the small business owners. And that's the really important part. And that's how we become a unique small town, but obviously too, you have the businesses, but like we talk about world-class whitewater, and we had all these visionaries, right? They came in the 70s and people thought they were crazy and they're going to put a raft down the river. Who wants to do that? And then let's talk about climbing and then biking, and all these things started happening in Fayetteville. And it's because of those people who had a vision, and it's because of those small business owners, you know, the Pies and Pints creators and Secret Sandwich and Ben Franklin, who we just lost, but it was all these people who had a vision, the small, but we also offer all the other big business opportunities in a separate, you know, it feels like it's a mile or 10 miles away, but it's right there all in the same community. But we really found out with the national park designation that we weren't ready, of course. With COVID and the national park, everybody got outdoors, and we weren't ready. So we sat down and said, hey, instead of being reactive, let's be proactive. And we established a master plan. And now we have to do our 10-year comprehensive plan, but we wanted to put a master plan out there so we could have a roadmap. And I was coming on board as the town manager, and I'm like, you know, what grants do I go after? What are our priorities? And I really couldn't have an answer for that, you know, where we were headed. So we're working, we're constantly working. And I'd like to tell them, you know, hey, we have to be in forward. We can't be in neutral. You know, everybody wants to be in neutral and not change anything. But we definitely can't be in reverse, because if you're in neutral, it's like you're in reverse. So we have to keep pushing forward. And we're working with the master plan. There's some lofty goals and some lofty visions in that master plan, but I think it's important. So especially for me and for Sharon, to see what Fayetteville can become, because we've been there our whole lives. So it's hard for us to see it looking differently, or what it'll look like in 20 years.
Just having that vision is so important, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's a hard sell to council, so it was great to have that support from you guys to sell that and to move that forward.
Yep, got to write that vision. Mayor, we're going to come back to you.
Okay.
As Fayetteville develops, as this whole county develops, you're going to have to pull people together, you know, engage, whether it's residents, businesses, government. How do you ensure that you're being inclusive and really pulling all the people that need to be at the table to the table?
Well, there's an old saying that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And that holds true with that. Having said that, it's challenging. We started with the public meetings when we started advertising for a town planner. We had community meetings. We wanted the feedback of the community. So many times your citizens can feel that they're left out, that everything caters to the tourist. And that's not the case. In part of our interview, well, what do you want Fayetteville to look like? What towns are out there that you want it to look like? I want it to look like Fayetteville. I don't want to look like anybody else. And that's the heart of the people in Fayetteville. We want to preserve our history. So after the public meetings, then we had a recreational community grant where we also did another round of public hearings to get more feedback from our citizens, as well as some visitors at that one. We had some tourists came to that one. And then off of that scenario, we also had the Finding Fayetteville, where we're talking to our elders, where we're talking to young people, trying to preserve those stories, to record those stories, to gather those histories, so that Fayetteville will always be able to tell the story. It's hard at times. We have a lot of our community has left for looking for other jobs. You know, when they graduated from college, then they moved on out of state. Well, I want to go to DC. I want to explore life. Kind of like Riley, you know, you're going somewhere else. So I think it's just always trying to be proactive, let them know they're welcome to come home, let people know that are visiting, looking maybe to move to Fayetteville. You're more than welcome to join us. It's an open town. We love to have everybody come. And one thing I'll say, and I notice it when I come out of Fayetteville, when you walk down the street, How many of you say hello as you pass somebody? You don't know them, but you say, hello, how are you? That's a comment I get from locals sometimes. I don't know anybody on this street. And I say, well, did you say hello to them? And that's the key. Remember how you were raised. Remember to be friendly. Remember to talk. That's a West Virginia thing, guys. Practice it.
Words of wisdom. Thank you. I want to give the mayor and Matt both some praise. When they first approached the Community and Economic Development Task Group with their grant application, they wanted us the foundation to help fund writing a plan. Yeah, they wanted to make a good plan, and they were so determined to bring people to the table that weren't traditionally part of those conversations. It wasn't just going to be City Hall and the Town Council. It was going to be people who had lived there their whole life but hadn't participated before. And that really meant a lot to us and everyone throughout the grant-making process. So I think you deserve praise for that. So my next question is, again, to Matt. When we first spoke about this, and each conversation we've had since then, and you used the word infrastructure already tonight, you made the comment to us that, you've always been good at hosting visitors for 2 nights or 2 nights, 3 days. But now we want to get to the position where people can comfortably come and spend 4 nights, 5 nights, a full week, and be busy and full of adventure the entire time. You even made the comment, some days it might rain. We might need some indoor activities. So what types of infrastructure are you working on, and what should we expect to see in the years to come?
So with that, obviously there's lots of things to do outdoors. We have world-class, just about everything in Fayetteville that you can think of. And if you can think of something we don't have, we'll work on it. We just got a great pump track, and didn't even know what a pump track was. But we have one now.
What's a pump track? I don't know.
Longest pump track in the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
But that sounds great. What is it?
Too,
longest paved.
And Jenna's organization definitely helped us out, along with Senator Manchin, for that. But so what a pump track is, since we got talking on that.
I didn't know what it was either. We just got him the money. He had the plan. We got him the money. That's how it works.
So if you think about like a BMX bike course, it has, or even a motocross course, it has a bunch of humps and bank curves. It's designed so you can ride your bike on it, and so you don't have to pedal. So you just pump the bike, and you can go through it easily without lots of effort. I mean, it does. You can work up a sweat really quick, but you can also. We have kids out there riding strider bikes on it, skateboards, scooters. The other day I went out there and people had their RC cars on it, which was kind of neat. But you have to come by. It's at the town park, and like Jenna said, it's the largest one in West Virginia, but there's a lot coming. And I was shocked. The other night, there was more people on the pump track, and it's right beside our skate park, so it put some life into the skate park. But there's more people there than on our splash pad, and there's a lot of people on the splash pad, but the pump track, and it's throughout the whole day. So, but what basically, like you said, we need some more indoor activities. When it does rain, what do? There's the extremists that they're still out there. There's people that raft in the wintertime, but what do you do? And we have one community member who's putting in an outdoor climbing gym, and I think that'll be key to do. But just to try to encourage those businesses, and try to find, like Sharon said, properties scarce in Fayetteville, within Fayetteville, but try to find those locations for those businesses and support them through the whole process, because it is a lengthy process to go from that thought to actually opening the doors and cutting the ribbons. So however we can be an assistance. One of the things for me, it's the forgotten infrastructure, the sewer or the stormwater. I think that's important too, because there's still probably about 30% of people that live in Fayetteville that don't have sewer, don't have public sewer, which it's a blessing for us that we got rid of it when we did, because we have an aging infrastructure, but we sold that off to West Virginia American Water. So it makes it a little more difficult for me to move the needle, or for the town to move the needle, because here you have a for-profit company now managing that, but we're continuing to work with them to get a public and private partnership so we can move that along and further develop that, because a lot of people forget about that, and there's some stormwater issues that we'd like to see, and we developed the 1% sales tax to kind of support that as well. So Sharon's already talked about parking, and we are working on parking. That was a big part of our plan, and the signage to get to that parking, to let everybody know where things are in Fayetteville, but also where the parking is so they can navigate that, make it a little bit easier on the residents and the visitors so they can come mingle.
Just so we have a sense of how much growth in visitor and foot traffic that we're talking about, what was 2023 versus 2019? You have numbers like that?
So coming out of the Park Service, it's been about 20%, 30% since it became a national park now. So I think that's 3 straight years of those numbers. So, and we're seeing those in Fayetteville as well. I think the shoulder seasons, being from Fayetteville, you see people in your town in the middle of winter. And, Fayetteville used to open up on Memorial Day and then shut down after Bridge Day. And then that's when you could go eat at all these cool restaurants because no one else was there. But, I think that's where I really see it is, and throughout the winter, and Holly can probably talk about that more with her business, but I think that's been the unique thing is, we've added these other industries or these other attractions that people can come to in the wintertime, and that helps the whole economy, obviously. You don't have to lay a bunch of people off, and it does help throughout the year.
Okay. This next question, we're going to open it up to everyone. As you build the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure, you also have to be concerned about workforce, housing, and access to health care. So how are you making sure that plans for those aspects of your development are addressed as well?
Yeah, so I'll just sort of speak first and then we can go down the line. We obviously have traditionally focused on workforce development and business recruitment and retention, but we've acknowledged that especially since COVID and the national park designation, we sort of have to serve in that quality of place space quite a bit, more so than we traditionally have. And so one of the things that we are focusing on right now as a region and then at the individual county level is a housing study. So as most of you all here know that we're fortunate to share some of our Fayette County territory with my counterpart Terrell at Advantage Valley. And we're following the lead and using the same planning firm at Advantage Valley used to build out a housing study for the region. But also in addition to the housing study, we've opted for the firm to help support some housing transition plans. So determining the highest and best use of existing housing stock and what that should be utilized for so that we can help inform planning and zoning and our communities across the region. And then also looking at a land use plan for the ideal location throughout the region for housing locations. And then the third component, which we felt was the most important, is determining a plan for seasonal workforce housing. That you hear a lot about the seasonality of the workforce. Holly can obviously speak to that most specifically, but what type of housing are they looking for and how do we support them with both housing to retain them in the off season and potentially transition them into a new employment opportunity, whether that be outdoor manufacturing or textiles, because those are obviously seasonal opportunities as well. So that's sort of just some of the planning work that we are working on from a regional perspective, but also focusing on the counties individually so that they'll have that data to sort of drive forward a lot of their work.
Well, and I'll just reiterate, being retired from Chamber of Commerce, but it's challenging. Housing is challenging. And Fayette County has always had not that driving force. And now, because of the designation and the interest in the outdoors, it has become under the spotlight, if you will. The good thing about it is, while Fayetteville lacks the open properties, but there are tracts of land surrounding Fayetteville and a few within Fayetteville that could be utilized if you had a developer come. But it's also then given an open door to these other communities in Fayette County and in the New River Gorge region, I think, that more people are looking to live in those communities, which is a revitalization of those communities and attention to that as well. The workforce, I think, being a past board member of Leadership Fayette County, which models itself after Leadership West Virginia, which go 2005, that is one of the strong points. I wish that every student could have access to the uniqueness of leadership in Fayette County. It opens their world to different areas, whether it's medical, whether it's banking, government, the whole 9 yards. That's above and beyond what they learn in the classroom, which I think brings a uniqueness to their willingness to explore, their willingness to work. I think COVID, again, affected a lot of our social interactions. And I think people have to get back to their roots a little bit. You can get a work permit at 15. I know I did, and I think I encourage that if you have. I think that's what we need to have is more employers willing to hire those. But it's a challenge. It really is.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could interject, you touched on something, the idea that the new activity in Fayetteville is benefiting surrounding towns. Mm-hmm. From the foundation perspective, we have had an opportunity to help some of those efforts. I saw Susie Salisbury here from the Charleston Area Alliance. They lead an effort to develop what are described as trail towns. If Charleston is the gateway to Fayetteville, then every little former coal town between Charleston and Fayetteville has an opportunity to capture some of that foot traffic, and they're each coming to the foundation with their own little projects or improvements, and we've had a number of opportunities, and it's not just Smithers and Montgomery, but it's Bell and other towns, a lot of activity in Oak Hill.
It's huge, and I think that's what sometimes, and again, going back to the Chamber of Commerce world, that was what was limiting a lot of times is and Matt and I were talking about on the way down here, people along the river have a gold mine. People want to be on the water. They want to do the trails. They want to do different things. And I'm excited, but 20 years ago, you'd be like, yeah, you got to get out there and do this. And they'd be like, oh, nobody will come. And, but now people are excited, and I love that because that's what it's all about. We got to be excited about our state and our communities.
Awesome. Holly, how about you?
Sure. To speak to the workforce, I mean, that's a challenging topic. I represent change to more than one community in West Virginia, to generational West Virginians, but I represent change to a business that has been in existence since 1994. And to do the things I want to do, which is create economic impact and broaden access to the outdoors, I've got to grow. I've grown, the business has grown, similar to those numbers Matt talked about. Really things to really celebrate. I've been able to grow my head count faster pace than my overall percentage. I'm not really paying myself that much right now, and that's a unique opportunity or unique situation. How do we recruit more people, unicorns maybe, like to invest their capital or to dive in? But there are people in the outdoor community that look at me and say, why are you selling more t-shirts? Why are you changing this business that's been the way we liked it for so long? And you're changing it. Why are you doing that? I mean, my skin has gotten so tough over the past 2.5 years, you wouldn't believe it. And I thought I'm just trying to help. I thought I'm just trying to keep this business alive and move it forward, but there's pushback. But I know fundamentally, I'm looking at the books. I can't grow the job. I can't even pay the debt I'm paying to have the business continue without growth. It would go away without growth. So I have to push for growth. So we've created new revenue streams. We've brought in different types of products. We've used different technologies, and we're continuing to push on that. But I get pushback from both sides there, which is pretty tough. But in that goal of I want to create economic impact, I want real jobs, I want people to stay here, put their kids in school here, and it not be this bifurcated, you come through for a time or a season as an outdoor enthusiast and then roll on to something else. And those good benefits from the outdoors are just kind of in that circle of the outdoor transplant world, or it's temporary resident only, but they're really settling in and putting down roots. One of your questions, and I don't know if you're going to ask it, but I'll go ahead and tease it, was how are the sports of whitewater rafting and climbing, how do they change the identity of the town? And the answer I want to give to that is I want to change the identity of those sports so that their identity is associated with Fayetteville, because we can't keep putting throughput of tourism. It's amazing and it's awesome and it has lifted up so many boats, but we can't just have that as the economic driver. We have to export the idea and the identity of this amazing place so that when people are climbing at their gym at home, or they're planning their next rafting trip somewhere, or they're buying their hiking shoes, they're thinking of West Virginia and their money is somehow tied to it. But that's the way we move forward. We manufacture, we create brands, we push West Virginia out and really lay claim to what we already have, but in the wider market that's already seeing what we have.
Love it. Awesome vision. And thank you for touching on the hard parts of growth and change. It's necessary, and sometimes it's uncomfortable and you get resistance, but it's necessary. And thank you. Yeah, we had to eventually get to the tough questions like healthcare and housing, so thank you everybody for playing along. But if I could suggest that we sort of wind down and end on a note like the classic job interview question, like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? What is your brief but hopeful vision for what Fayetteville might be 10 years from now? Each of you, please.
So I'll go first. I think that when, again, looking at the region, we've talked about a lot of different threads that Fayetteville has sort of led the charge on, and we're threading both outward and inward. And for me, from both a county and regional perspective, this just sort of, every time we talk about Fayetteville as the center point, I think about the Connecting the Park to the Gateway Communities plan that the National Park Service issued in 2012. And it was, how do we connect what we have through this linear park to all of these different areas? And to me, it really, I see Fayetteville as being sort of that hub and center point of the larger connectivity that is very much a challenge and a need across the region, so that we can continue to drive traffic throughout the remainder of the area. So how does Fayetteville, how can we continue to make sure that we're highlighting Fayetteville and Fayette County in a way that folks are coming, but when we get them there, we're telling them about the other great things that we have throughout the region and the state that we can drive them to. So really focusing on that connectivity and using Fayetteville and Fayette County as the draw to get folks here.
I would say in 10 years, I would hope in 10 years that there would be time of reflection from those that may oppose change, that build our strong skin, would reflect and say, you guys were right to hold strong on those zoning principles, and you were right to value,
preach the zoning.
Value your resource, and your resource is your people and your heritage. And one thing that we didn't touch on is our stone walls, for those of you that don't know, were built by immigrants, the Italian stonemasons who came to the United States to work and provide a living. And they did. And most of the stonework in West Virginia are by those stonemasons by the name of Valio, Janulo, from Fayetteville, West Virginia, Fairmont, Charleston. Anywhere you see that cut stone, more than likely those are Fayette County people that built those walls and bridges. So that would be what I hope for in 10 years, that they say, thank God you protected your heritage. So that's all I got.
Amen. If that's all you got, that's pretty good. Thank you.
Do I have to follow that? Wow. I think, Sharon said it earlier, we want to be Fayetteville. And I think in 10 years, if I could have my grandfather back, I think in 10 years, I want him to be able to see his Fayetteville, but also see Fayetteville as, Fayetteville with a unique character that we have, what others want to be like, but also just the whole region, just being cohesive, and you can move from town to town. The signage is the same. You don't have to like relearn their system. You're used to it, kind of like the Mom Forest towns do. And you know, the whole area, because the national park doesn't have an entrance and an exit. You know, it goes through the bridge, but also, you know, let's go see the rest of the area, not just Fayetteville. And those people coming back, and they want to live here, and to be able in 10 years to offer places for them to live affordable. And I think that's where I want Fayetteville to be. I think we talked about, you know, what to do when the weather's cloudy outside and not cooperating, you know, but to be able to offer that to keep them here the whole week, or to keep them in our area the whole week, I think is where I want to see us in 10 years, you know, because there's a lot of great other places in the surrounding areas that, you know, like we said on the way down here, we'd love for people to get out and see, but, you know, you run out of time. I think that's where I want to see Fayetteville.
All right, well, in 10 years, I'm going to go to sports on this. Matt Dietrich, among all the things he does, he also helps coach the middle school baseball team, which my son was lucky to be a part of this year. But I really see that as the town park and the local school as a hub of the community. I did not know real Fayetteville until I put my kids in public school, and I am so grateful for it. My understanding of West Virginia and the fabric of this community is so much richer and deeper because of the relationships I've made. I always thank my daughter and my son for giving me those relationships. But that's where I see, if Fayetteville's getting it right, our numbers at Fayetteville Middle are going up. We're not losing athletes to other other schools because it's a place where people want to be associated with, and it's a real a bellwether for how we're doing as a town. We have more families, we have more investment, and we have more kids wanting to call Fayetteville home.
Great place to end. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for our panelists. Thank you so much for making time for us. You really appreciate, you really enlightened us some more about Fayetteville and Fayette County. Thanks to each and every one of you for your presence here today. We appreciate your interest in the foundation. And thank you to everyone over our 62-year history, our founders, our donors, leaders in the community, all of you who have made the foundation what it is today. Thanks to everyone who's been involved in the production, all this stuff. Jane and her team, Jane Powell, our communications director, and the Clay Center team, Augie Gray, and our Cucumber and Company guys, and Chris Gossett, everyone. Thank you, the Bob Thompson unit, our resident house band, everyone. We really appreciate you all. Refreshments are served, and there's, I heard there's wine. I think Jane said there's wine. Heavy appetizers, and you know, grab a beverage, and thank you again. We appreciate you.